Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Jerry Stanford, and I want to welcome you to Jerry's Place, where we talk about all the things that we can to help out with our business credit plans and strategies. One thing I always think about is that everybody is not at the same step in their financial pathway, and sometimes we have to start back at the beginning. And I wanted to start today at the beginning and talk about how to get approved for a credit card. Now, this may sound kind of simple, but sometimes it's not always that easy to go through and to think about. So let's kind of start with the basics from the beginning. So, what is a credit card in the first place? Again, it sounds like a simple question, but again, we're all on a different financial path. So, some people are ahead, some people are not. So, let's start there. Now, credit card is going to be an account with a financial institution that lets you borrow and leverage money to be paid back in a specific time for a specific amount with specific terms. So basically, it's the bank saying to you, hey, look here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to let you use this money as long as you pay us back this much in this time period, and we're going to charge you this much interest. So basically, you're leveraging their funds in order to help you to do whatever it is that you need to do. Now, it's a great thing to leverage someone else's money. So, say for instance, if I borrow $10,000, I can return it in 30 days, and that'll be after I've made some money with it or after I've fulfilled my plans with it. And that's opposed to investing it. I mean, that's how the millionaires and billionaires make their money, right? Other people's money, as they say, OPP. And they leverage their debt. They prolong the debt by moving it down the road. Sometimes they move the debt around from one to the other. And a lot of times it's how they make their money. They use someone else's money, make a little bit over here, return the original amount while they keep the profit. And, we don't do that because we're taught that debt is a bad thing. So we don't think about leveraging debt in order for us to make money. So let's talk about some of these leveraging options, especially with credit cards. Now, there's two types of credit cards. You've got the secured and the unsecured. Now, the secured credit card is going to be the one where you actually give collateral ahead of time in order to leverage the bank's money. So, say for instance, you give $1,000 and the bank decides to let you use that $1,000 over and over again as much as you want to, as we discussed before, at specific time for a specific time period, for a specific amount that's to be repaid, and at a specific interest rate. Now, it may sound kind of weird. It's like, well, how am I leveraging their money if I'm using my money? Well, unfortunately, it's a bank, so they're always out to make money, but they don't want to take risk that they don't have to. So if you're a person who doesn't have the greatest credit profile, maybe a little difficult for you to get an unsecured card, which we'll talk about in a moment, but it'll be easier for you if you say, well, you know what? I'm willing to put a little skin in the game. So here, take this and let me use this from time to time. And then as you see that I'm responsible paying on time, making sure I don't have any lates, making sure I do stick to our terms and our agreement, now you can trust me that I'm responsible with the money that you're giving me. I mean, let's face it. We do the same thing when someone's borrowing from us, don't we? We only give to people that we feel we can trust to pay us back, right? We don't just give it to anybody who asks just because they ask. We give it to those that we know that we can trust with it. Now, the opposite is the unsecured, as we had talked about before. Now, that's where the bank looks at you and say, you know what? You're not as much of a risk, so we don't have a problem giving you that money in order to leverage and then pay us back at the terms that we decide. So once again, you can get a credit card for $1,000, $5,000, even $10,000, and you can utilize that money and leverage it to do other things with it that can earn you some income. And as we go through some things in different videos, we'll kind of talk about the different things that you can use in order to make your own profit by leveraging some of that bank income. Now, let's start. There's also the division between personal cards and business credit cards. Now, most people are familiar with the personal cards. You know that is on your personal credit file. You know about FICO scores no collections, no late payments, having accounts that are aged to a certain point, which is what helps to build your credit profile so that the banks can trust you. Now, it's the same thing on the business side, except there's a few things that are a little bit different. On the personal side, we have what we call utilization. That's basically saying, okay, if you have $10,000 worth of credit on your personal side, and you're using, say, $1,500 worth of that $10,000 credit, you're utilizing 15% of your available credit. Now, most banks, most lenders, they look at 30% utilization and below as someone that's good and that's trustworthy. You're not using too much, but you're using just enough to show that, okay, I have a cause for being able to leverage your money. So they want to see 30% and below. And they have what they call a debt to income ratio, or DTI. Now, what DTI does, again, that gives them an idea of how responsible you are as a person. If they see that the debt that you're spending is going to be less, 30% or less than the income you make, then they feel that you're a good risk. Let's go once again to your debt to income. Say that you make $5,000 a month and your debt right now is at $2,000. That's 40% debt to income. That doesn't look too good to the bank. They're like, you might be creating too much debt for what you make. But say it's at 1,000 out of the 5,000 income that you make each month. That's 20%. So now you look like a better risk because it looks like you understand how to manage the money. And it sounds kind of weird that this huge bank that has all of these billions and trillions of dollars is concerned about your little $1,000 that you have in debt, but that's what they do. That's how they make their money, is by monitoring things like that. So that makes you seem like a better risk. But on the business side, you don't have to worry about utilization like that. As a matter of fact, they want you to use it and max it out as much as possible. It's a business. Businesses are created in order to make money. So if you're maximizing your credit cards, that shows that you're running your business, you're growing your business, which is good for them because that means you're going to be continuously paying off these cards and coming back for more. So that's always a good thing. Plus, you can get higher credit limits on your business credit cards than you can on your personal credit cards. So this is what makes business cards a little bit better than personal if you can go ahead and do that. All you have to do on your business side is worry about paying on time. No lates, no collections, nothing like that on your business. And you can keep rolling using it as much as you want and as high as you want. Well, on the personal side, you still shouldn't have any late. You still shouldn't have any collections, but you're adding to it that utilization that you need to keep low, as well as making sure that you manage your debt to income ratios. Now, one thing that you can use credit cards for that are really great is when you're traveling. Like for instance, when I went to Japan, I had to stop and I had to exchange my cash from dollars to yen. But if I had a credit card, that would have been an automatic exchange. I wouldn't have had to stop anywhere to make any adjustments. That's one of the great benefits of having a credit card is when you travel, you can most likely use a Visa or MasterCard wherever you go because they're worldwide, and you don't have to worry about having that cash on you, having to go through the exchange rates, and having to do a whole lot with traveler's checks even. You don't have to worry about doing that much. Now, one thing that you can have to keep in mind is you want to treat your credit card like a debit card. Debit cards are backed by the money you have in your account. So if you don't have the money, you can't make the purchase. So treat your credit cards the same way. If you don't have the money, you can't make the purchase. This way you keep your credit profile and you keep it very, very simple and very, very clean. So when you really need to go to the bank and leverage their funds, you won't have any problems doing that. It helps you to be disciplined and it helps you to build a strategy so that when you're ready to really go in and leverage funds, you already are in the habit of being disciplined and you already have strategies of how to pay this money back so that you can keep leveraging and hopefully leverage even more in the future when your limits are increased, especially on the business side. And credit cards work great for digital entrepreneurs. One, because they have less overhead because they're working online. and they can use the business cards for cash flow so that when times get a little tight, times get a little tough, you can go to those business credit cards and get the money off the card in order to help the business with the working capital, or even if you need to get some equipment, you can use the business credit cards for that. Now, this is a very simplified kind of little breakdown about the credit cards, secured and unsecured, personal and business. But once again, everybody's at a different stage in their financial journey, in their financial growth. So I wanted to start a little bit real easy, real simple, talking about the differences between those types of credit cards. Now, as we go along on this channel, I'm going to talk more about credit cards a little bit deeper, the different types of credit cards, what you can do with them, even how you can get the funding from different lenders in order to get what you need in order to make your plans come true, especially for your business. Because every card is not going to do the same thing, and every lender is not going to give you the same kind of terms that you might need in order to leverage for your business. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go along. So just keep it right here. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification button so that when videos are posted, you'll be able to go right to them and learn some new things about business credit. We're going to go through this journey together because I'm going through the journey the same as you. And as I learn, I'm going to share these things with you because I believe everybody needs to have a wealth of information in order to make educated decisions about what they want to do with their next steps in their life. I hope you found this video to be useful. Please leave some comments. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And let me know if there's any other things that you want to talk about, because then I may be able to get some information and bring it back to you. So I want to thank you for coming to Jerry's Place. And once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.